The 1066 Granada massacre took place on the 30th of December 1066 when a Muslim mob stormed the royal palace in Granada, which was at that time in Muslim-ruled Al-Andalus, assassinated the Jewish vizier Joseph ibn Nagrela and massacred many of the Jewish population of the city. Joseph ibn Nagrela, or Joseph Han Najid, was a vizier to the Berber king, Badis al-Muzaffar of Granada, during the Moorish rule of Andalusia and the leader of the Jewish community there. Life and career. Joseph was born in Granada, the eldest son of rabbi and famous poet and warrior Shmuel Han Najid. Some information about his childhood and upbringing is preserved in a collection of his father's Hebrew poetry, in which Joseph writes that he began copying at the age of 8.5. His primary school teacher was his father, on the basis of a letter to Rabbi Nissim Gaon attributed to him, in which Joseph refers to himself as Nissim's disciple. It is possible to infer that he also studied under Nissim at Kairouan. In 1049 CE, Joseph married Nissim's daughter on Shmuel's death. Joseph succeeded him as vizier and rabbi, directing at the same time an important yeshiva. Among his students were Rabbi Isaac ben Baruch ibn al-Balia and Rabbi Isaac ibn Gayat. Character. Rabbi Abraham ibn Daud describes Joseph in highly laudatory terms, saying that he lacked none of his father's good qualities, except that he was not quite as humble, having been brought up in luxury. The 1906 edition of the Jewish Encyclopedia states that Arabic chroniclers relate that he believed neither in the faith of his fathers nor in any other faith. It may also be doubted that he openly declared the principles of Islam to be absurd. Arabic poets also praised his liberality. The Jewish Encyclopedia also reports that Joseph controlled the king and surrounded him with spies. He was also accused of several acts of violence, which drew upon him the hatred of the Berbers, who were the ruling majority at Granada. The most bitter among his many enemies was Abu Ishaq of Elvira, who hoped to obtain an office at court and wrote a malicious poem against Joseph and his coreligionists. This poem made little impression upon the king, who trusted Joseph implicitly, but it created a great sensation among the Berbers. A rumor spread to the effect that Joseph intended to kill Badis, deliver the realm into the hands of al-Mutasim of Almeria, with whom the king was at war, then to kill al-Mutasim and seize the throne himself. Massacre. On the 30th of December 1066, Muslim mobs stormed the royal palace where Joseph had sought refuge, then crucified him. In the ensuing massacre of the Jewish population, many of the Jews of Granada were murdered. The 1906 Jewish Encyclopedia claims that more than 1,500 Jewish families, numbering 4,000 persons, fell in one day. However, the 1971 edition does not give precise casualty figures. Joseph's wife fled to Lucena with her son Azariah, where she was supported by the community. Azariah died in early youth. According to historian Bernard Lewis, the massacre is usually ascribed to a reaction among the Muslim population against a powerful and ostentatious Jewish vizier. Lewis writes, particularly instructive in this respect is an ancient anti-Semitic poem of Abu Ishaq, written in Granada in 1066. This poem, which is said to be instrumental in provoking the anti-Jewish outbreak of that year, contains these specific lines: "Do not consider it a breach of faith to kill them. The breach of faith would be to let them carry on. They have violated our covenant with them, so how can you be held guilty against the violators? How can they have any pact when we are obscure and they are prominent? Now we are humble beside them, as if we were wrong and they were right." Lewis continues, diatribes such as Abu Ishaq's and massacres such as that in Granada in 1066 are of rare occurrence in Islamic history. The episode has been characterized as a pogrom. Walter Laqueur writes, Jews could not as a rule attain public office, and there were occasional pogroms. such as in Granada in 1066. Spivakovsky questions the death rate, suspecting it to be an example of the usual hyperbole and numerical estimates with which history abounds.